Hello, all, and welcome to another podcast of FPL Pulse Talk. It's getting exciting by the day with just 2 weeks remaining to the start of the season. So, how are we feeling, boys?
I'm good. I mean, to be honest, there are a lot of changes happening in FPL, and my drafts have been changing a lot recently. But yeah, that's what FPL is. What about you, Much?
I've been doing the same thing, just tinkering with my drafts and trying to keep track of all the new signings and prospective signings. But yeah, it's getting exciting day by day. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the podcast is one reason for me to at least get some clarity around the confusion that we have across almost all position right now with the noise that is there in the entire FPL community. And no matter what data point or data stat we look, I think there's still lot of places that need some clarity, need some fresh thoughts, need some new insights around, and just a new perspective when we are going into this season. I think there are a lot of strategies already floating around, and given the changes this season, I'm expecting one of the toughest season. But yeah, the sounds good, sounds exciting. And since Aman is taking the shenanigans today for this spot, so I'm eagerly waiting for all the lesson today.
Oh yeah, you'll get a lot of information for sure today. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, one thing to introduce. So this season, we are collaborating with FFS Scout. This is one of the collaboration that we all four were eager for. Um, Given the last 5 or 6 years, I have been using this their tool to make the best decision, and I think we've all somewhere or the down the line during our FPL journey have used it. So during our podcast, all the data and the stats that you'll be seeing are sourced directly from the members area, which from a fact is getting better every season. The brand new member area this season include powerful tools like your team planner. They have the recalculated CBIT and the BPS recalculated, so you can have a clear overview of what has changed from an entire new changes perspective. And there's much more around there, and they are keep on adding new features each week. And the best part, in this season and currently, we are giving 47% off. So if you subscribe right now, and you can use our link in the description below, you will be getting this particular offer. And yes, just get onboarded and join the network. This is one of the best community out there. So just a placeholder here, and then maybe we can move to our.
All right. So, welcome to our FPL Defenders deep dive, guys. This is probably the most important defenders discussion we're going to have this season. And the 2025-26 FPL landscape has actually fundamentally shifted. And the defenders are no longer just clean sheet chasers. They're now legitimate point machines, in my opinion. And this decision can actually be season defining in terms of the ranking. So, let's discuss the meta shift that has happened with respect to defenders. I'd say, the FPL committee was pretty busy this time around with, so many new changes to the game. And, by the way, you can just watch our first podcast for the detailed discussion we had on all the new changes. You know, but if I had to say that there is one thing that they seriously probably, missed or seem to have gotten wrong, is the defenders pricing. With defensive contribution points now rewarding um, a ceiling of 2 points for 10 plus clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackle, the CBIT. Center backs have actually maybe become the most undervalued assets in the game. To give an example, James Tarkowski would have scored 44 additional points last season just from defensive contributions. That's equivalent to 11 additional clean sheets. So, these kind of changes are fundamental shifts and force us to look at defenders from a different lens. And that brings me to the next point, which is that the meta this time around has completely shifted from what used to be cheap defenders and premium attackers in the previous season to going big at the back formations. And here's why. Right, you have a higher point ceiling. All of a sudden the premium defenders now have multiple scoring routes. They get clean sheet, they can have attacking returns, and then there are those defensive contribution points to top that. Secondly, there's defense, fixture independence in case of certain players. There are, I would say, CBIT specialists, people, players like Tarkowski, Murillo, or Lacroix from Crystal Palace, who have the potential to hit defensive contribution most of the times, in majority of the games. They basically making them fixture proof in that respect. And thirdly, there is, evident rotation strategies, emerging. With proper rotations, you can, basically target specific fixtures while maintaining the defensive contribution flooring as well. So it makes it much easier for one to go big at the back this time. Maybe, think about formations like 4-4-2, or 3-5-2, or, be more rotation heavy, uh, playing a lot different players as per the fixtures. Just to give
Yeah.
a overview on the CBIT again, like, the magic number here is 10 CBIT actions per 90, which basically translates to one defensive contribution bonus every 1.5 games as well. Players hitting these threshold as per the last season, the top three players would have been Tarkowski, followed by Murillo, and then followed by Milenkovic from Nottingham Forest. These are not just, in my opinion, good defenders. They're basically point machines. And now to sort of talk of, what are the kind of defense structures evolving, in the landscape this time. There are, three different formations when it comes to defense. I am seeing a lot of one premium, which is 6 million, with two CBIT specialists, sort of like 5 and 5.5 million player, and two rotation options, which could be a 4.5 or a 4 million. Second strategy is, could be solely CBIT focused, wherein you have three defensive contribution specialists with some attacking upside as well, right? You maybe not go for say point 0.5 or 1 from the previous from the premium defenders and spread that in midfield or however. And then the third strategy which is emerging is, going rotation heavy, wherein you could also go for like all the five defenders priced at, between 4 and 5 or 5.5 at max, and just target the right fixture combinations across three. As per myself, I'm currently leaning towards, the first, which is sort of going big at the back, which includes having at least one premium and one to two CBIT specialists, and, taking two rotational picks. I am 80% sure I'll stay on this, but, you never know when the game week deadline comes. Uh, so yeah, that's my,
I
initial.
think I'll just add on one point, not just the ceiling is increasing, but I think when we are looking at the player pool and position pool, if you look at the floor of forwards, right, it's two. Like if you have to take about like a normal game, it's two. But for a defender, the floor could be it's not two now. It could be it's four because they are in those games which are very tight where nothing is happening. There the chances of defenders being involved in the game increases, and that is why I think the floor has changed. And it is correct from what you are saying that if we are seeing those themes of 4.5 rotational theme where you can maximize that rotation in terms of getting those or scalping those CBIT points by like making sure you are targeting the right fixtures for those players where they have this kind of potential. So the floor is also key, and I really like the first point of this 11 extra clean sheet. I think it's a perspective one needs to start looking at. And last season was different, was something different. This season could also be something different. We might see these defensive contribution also skewing on the higher side as well. So we never know, but I think this is one key thing that we'll always have to keep in mind while building our team.
Yeah, I think just one very small point. I think this also gives us the option of now saving some money at the back and then putting that money up in front, right? We don't necessarily have to go with the three premium defenders now. We can just choose defenders based on the CBIT points and plug in money into the into the midfield and forward areas. So yeah, that's what I think is a potential impact of this, a good one probably.
Yeah, I mean, as for myself, like when these changes came initially, I was a little bit dismissive of, how much impact the CBIT might have on our thought process. But as the game is evolving and as we're analyzing the data and, looking at how things can change, uh, co- added to that, the price points we're looking at, it seems the defense is going to be sort of the differential for a lot of teams, wherein how one plays the defense in their FPL team can actually get you up the ranks. Yeah. So let's look at the fixtures for some of the top teams who have one of the best defensive fixtures early this season. So just to call out, like for game week 1 to 3, there are 3 weekends, and post that we'll have a 2 week international break, and then from game week 4 to 7, again we'll have consecutive games, and post 7 we'll have another 2 week international break, and then from game week 8 to 11 we'll have consecutive fixtures, followed by the third international break. So I just wanted to call out because we need to be mindful that we probably look at playing our wild card post game week 7 when players come back from the international break, because we've seen that there are injuries and things that have to be managed post international breaks. Just now moving on to the actual teams that we're looking at here. Clearly Nottingham Forest are the king of early fixtures, right? They face Brentford at home, West Ham away, and Burnley at home in their opening three fixtures itself. This gives them the best, or the lowest fixture difficulty rating uh, i- amongst all the teams. And on top of that, last year they had the second best clean sheets record, and their defensive core still remains unchanged, right? And interestingly, they recorded the highest clearances per match at 30.1 clearances, right, per match. And Murillo and Milenkovic, if as we just like noticed earlier, they average 10 plus CBIT per 90 minutes, right? Making them defensive contribution magnets. I'm pretty sure like a lot of, or most of us are definitely gonna have at least one defender or goalkeeper from Nottingham Forest. Then we have Chelsea. They have a good run, initial run of Palace at home, West Ham away, Fulham at home. And they actually had a decent record. We had a decent record last season, conceding just 43 goals, which is fourth fewest, keeping 10 clean sheets. So for us, the interesting thing is that in the second half of the season, Kukurea really came up and put his hand up in terms of his attacking contributions. He scored 4 goals and gave 2 assists as a fullback. So keep in mind, like, he's a fullback, so he is going to give you those CBIT contributions. Plus he's very attacking as well. He finds himself a lot right up top, right on top of the goal, and he's there to contribute. So and if anything is to take note of, Chelsea's performance in the Club World Cup just showed that they are actually becoming defensively very solid as a team. We are getting we are becoming a team who can transition smoothly into a high press system and go back to defending again. So Chelsea is also an interesting shout amongst the teams who have a favorable fixture run in the initial 6 weeks. And then we have Aston Villa, which again have one of the best fixtures in the opening 7. They have Sunderland away, Fulham at home, and Burnley away in the first 7. And although if we see, they just kept 9 clean sheets in the last season, but their performance really picked pace towards the end of the season. They were nowhere near where they finished in the Champions League spot last season. And in the way they played towards the end, that actually got them a Champions League spot. So, and especially if I have to say, like, Villa and Burnley, make a amazing rotation pair as well. Something like a Konsa and Esteve combination or a rotation gives you incredible fixture coverage for what, just 8.5 million of total. So
Mhm.
this I feel is something very interesting that a lot of players will probably end up looking at, and we should too. Coming to Tottenham, they've been known to be very leaky under Ange Postecoglou, but now things might change with Thomas Frank at the helm. Did a great job at Brentford, and they were very solid defensively. So I'm expecting good, solid defensive performance from Tottenham as well this season. Their opening run is also encouraging. They have Burnley, Bournemouth, and Brighton in the opening run, and two players which pop out for me are Udogi if he's fit, and Van de Ven at 4.5 million. So they are very value picks, and they might give us a lot of point if Frank is able to sort things at the back.
Yeah, even I don't see City fixture as a tough fixture for them. Thomas Frank did double on City last season, so with Brentford, so that's an encouraging sign. And they've also a team that is still going with the same backline, just the manager change and the manager with who loves playing five at back against top six as well. So City again is a tough fixture. So even if we are looking at City, might not be a clean sheet game, it could be a DEFCON game surely from that angle. And other fixtures all scream clean sheet if they do a solid start to the season. And for what we know of Spurs is they last both two season, the first six games they were up there, like their numbers were and stats were up there. I think that's one sign that they always start a season on an encouraging note, and I'm expecting the same with France. So yeah,
Yeah,
can have some picks from them.
yeah, even Poro seems to be quite popular in terms of ownership. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
options with Tottenham as well.
Right. Let's look at City, boys. They've not been very popular in terms of people discussing about them. Although I've seen a lot of drafts with Eight Nouri in them, and he's actually a template pick right now at the moment. Uh, and so is Guardiol, highly owned as of now. But things might change as we come close to the deadline. But I definitely feel they're going a little bit under the radar with respect to how people are rating them. They have Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton, and Burnley in the first opening six game weeks, which to me, sounds very juicy. They they kept like they conceded more than the more goals last season than they're used to. There were not as many clean sheets, but they were still always throughout in the top three when it came to defensive numbers in terms of xg conceded, or be it any shots conceded kind of metrics. Guardiol was the highest scoring defender last year with 153 points. He had 5 goals and 2 assists. Although, with Eight Nouri in the team now, his forward role might change a little. He might become more of a center back, but then that will also lead to higher defensive contribution floor for him. So I feel City is pretty interesting team as well.
Yeah,
One
I
thing about
do.
Yeah, one
Yes,
one
Suraj.
thing about City is if Rodri stays fit, I think they'll get clean sheets as well. And they have signed one more player, right? Ranger, if I'm not
Rain-
wrong.
Rangers.
Which will which will increase their clean sheets odds. So I think
Yeah.
they're the good pick.
I think
One
some
thing is
managers, yeah, go on.
just to add there, but Guardiola playing left center back, that is a little tricky because
Hmm.
it's ideally a Ruben Diaz position. And or like if the other defenders are there, he's not been tried. I'm not sure what he does, but it could be like what I'm seeing and hearing from some city forums is that Guardiol might be experimented little up forward, and it could be a dual pivot with Rodri as well, which gives flexibility to Rodri to even go further, which he always possesses. Like we've seen him do that in a lot of games when in the season when he was fifth, the season he got Ballon d'Or. He did had a goal involvement ratio there. So That could be one experiment, and if that is there, I think then he becomes a better pick than Ait Nouri as well.
Yeah, but with Pep, you never know what system he
Yeah,
plays, right? Like last season, they were hit with injuries all over, right? So Guardiola was actually such a solid pick. We never fully realized that he's actually a permanent pick
Mm.
in Pep's team. He just missed one match the entire season, so that's
yeah.
amazing as per Pep's track record. But this time around, they have made a lot of signings. We don't know what kind of positional changes they'll have to experiment with. Ruben Dias is back. Akanji will be back. In the center back roles. Then you've got Matthews Nunes also playing as a wing back. You've got Ait Nouri on the other side, and
Ake,
then you also have to
Nathan
Ait
Ake.
Nouri on the wing, right?
Yeah,
And Ake is a center back anyway.
yeah,
So right. So and on top of that, you have Rangers as a defense pivot with Rodri, who's also back. So there's a lot of competition. What I feel for positions in the defense and defensive midfield already.
Hmm.
So it is to be seen how Pep fixes on the team. It's a little bit risky, as is always with the City initially. For me, it seems like a little bit of a wait and watch.
yeah. I think that's what most managers are going to do. They're going to bide their time for at least the first or second game week, and then see who's starting and who's fixed, and then probably go from there. You already mentioned all the defenders there, so yeah, that's the reason why that's going to happen. So yeah, let's see what Pep does.
Let's look at West Ham then, right? A player from this team has been gaining a lot of traction, sort of a fallen angel from Manchester United. He's shining at West Ham, right? Aaron Van Bissaka, boy delivered like 5 assists under Potter, so and that too when Potter was appointed in game week 20 last season.
Hmm.
So last 18 game weeks, what a turnaround it has been for Van Bissaka. He's had like the maximum kind of assist from any 4.5 defenders last season. And I feel like Potter is doing some good stuff at West Ham. Based on their preseason that I've noticed, they've become a lot of possession heavy team. I expect them to do fairly well this season. It will not be, I don't expect them to also concede as much as they did last season. So, and with the run they have, I think they're one of the top contenders, to keep at least one player from West Ham. It could be Kilman if you're going for a CBIT kind of a player, or it could be Van Bissaka from West Ham.
Right. Any thoughts on Liverpool?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's consistency is the word which sort of defines Liverpool. I think fixtures don't really matter when it comes to Liverpool or Arsenal for that matter. Even we know that Arsenal do not have a favorable run initially. I'd say even Liverpool, if you just see the first three, it's a little bit tough with Newcastle away, Arsenal at home. But beyond that, all the other fixtures to me feel like an easy clean sheet. Bournemouth, Burnley, Everton, Crystal Palace. Everton, we don't know, it's a derby, so but there are I feel at least three clean sheets in the first six in there. So Van Dijk, at least is in a consideration. He gets you that attacking edge as well. I would not overlook Liverpool. I'm seeing that Van Dijk is coming in a lot of drafts. He's gaining a lot of traction. So yeah, Liverpool for me is a top pick.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
also
mean
really
we'll.
excited about Frimpong. Very,
Yeah,
very exciting game he had in the preseason. And Kirkis, I haven't had a chance to look at him much. I don't think he's played much as well. But yeah, they're like exciting defender picks there. Let's see how it unfolds.
last game Slot tried Ryan Gravenberch in place of Konate. So if this is a permanent role he gets this season, given you like, I would still play Sobozla and McAllister in my team. Like they are so good to bench them.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think it's your lovely neighbors, Everton.
Mhm.
Uh, they seem to have amazing opening three fixtures: Leeds away, Brighton at home, Wolves away. uh, I feel like Moyes has almost changed that club ever since he's gone there. Like his setup sort of makes them a very hard team to beat, and it's evident in the fact that they had the fourth fewest goals conceded last year, right? And on to top that, with things like Tarkovsky's 44 extra defensive contributions, which would have got, it makes them, it makes you feel like that you want to include one player, one defender from Everton somehow in this in your draft. But it's becoming so crowded. Like I feel like how it used to be for defenders last year, sorry, for midfielders last year. Like we wanted so many of them in our midfield. It's becoming difficult to keep the best possible defenders this year. So
That's
yeah,
why we
I
have
think
you for that clarity. But yeah,
yeah,
for Everton, one good fact, I think there's a like just a breath of fresh air around the club. They are moving to the new stadium. They moved
Stadium.
last, and this is like in general when you look back, Moyes is back. There are certain players in the management as well are coming back. So when you see those people back in the club who actually care for them, then there is at least some spark. They might have like a rush of fixtures where they are just hitting good form and then spiraling down, which we usually see with them. But I think these initial fixture run scream DEFCON as well as clean sheet, and we've seen all their defenders are up there in terms of DEFCON percentage. So yeah, hard
yeah,
to ignore right now.
yep. So let's start with the premium defenders, the 6 million ones. It's interesting that the highest, price defender is, all of them are 6 million. There's nobody above that. Seems like a gift. Van Dijk obviously is being considered amongst Liverpool. There's Kirkes as well at 6 million, but we don't know how certain we can feel about his minutes initially. Maybe he comes into the team later on once he becomes a consistent feature in that Liverpool team. But for now, I think Van Dijk is definitely one of the major, one of the most popular picks from the 6 million defender bracket. Liverpool got 14 clean sheets last season, which is close to 40%. And on top of that, we all know about his, ability to score those headers from set pieces. So yeah, I mean, I feel definitely he's amazing 6 million pick. All He's already becoming a template pick. What you have anything to add, guys? Here,
The strange thing is, have never had a double-digit haul last season.
yeah,
That is amazing. And likes of 8 Noor is having, but yeah, I expected he was pivotal in that whole side. But how do we interpret these DEFCON numbers here and like the potential among if we are just looking at premium because he's clearly standing out here. Um,
in
what
terms of DEFCON, he's not really, really big on those numbers. It's close to, uh, this is close to some 6.57, CBIT contributions per 90, which
Mhm.
does not really scream of any major CBIT point potential for me. So you're basically going for, the clean sheets here and the occasional goal from Van Dijk.
Right.
Yep.
And then we have obviously Kukurea, who really has exploded, is all of a sudden, become a Chelsea legend of sort of late. Like how us Chelsea fans have started to view him. I remember like he was not even featuring regularly in the team some time back. He's not playing that well, but Maresca has, you know, uh, sort of given him a fresh chance, fresh breath of air, and this last second half of this last season was amazing for him. Like he scored some 5 goals in that last run, and also gave some 2 assists. On top of that, he had 7 clean sheets in that, in those 25 matches that he played in the last season. So only Daniel Munoz had more FPL points than him in that same period. So that's saying a lot. And I feel like Chelsea are becoming pretty solid at the back. Y- We can see he had the highest, double digit hauls at 4 last season. So he has got that high ceiling as well. He plays as a center back, not center back, left back, but that adds to his bonus point and CBIT point potential as well. So for me, it feels like he has a very high ceiling and a serious consideration in that bracket.
I mean, if you look at their ownership right now, we have five defenders who are premium, which ideally most of the setup will have one of them, and they add up to 100% already, almost 100%. So that tells you how split up the teams are right now, and like how much variance we can expect when we are going it. So in that terms, I think City defenders have a least chance. Be- But we can even interpret this as like Arsenal defense is so good that they don't have to even get into these details of like interception and all. They are already so solid at back. But yeah, that's
Exactly, like how Raya did not concede a lot of saves, right? He never
yeah.
used to have a lot of saves because their defense and actually their defensive midfield was so good. Rice was so good in that midfield that
Mhm.
defenders almost had very less to do.
Right.
Yeah, then
So,
Rodri even reduces that potential of City players, right?
yeah, teams
Yeah,
with high possession will always have low defenders with low DEFCON points. So,
But we
So
should chase clean sheets over DEFCON 4 versus 2. So point wise.
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I think for a lower price pick, Defcon make more sense
yeah,
because you are
yep,
looking those players from their higher floor rather than their ceiling.
right.
Makes
And same
sense.
in the same sense, Gabriel is a similar profile player. Like, you can almost certainly, uh, bank on their clean sheet potential for Arsenal. Like, so they although their initial six fixtures are not really great except for the second one, which seems like almost a certain clean sheet to me. But apart from that, you would not be surprised if they actually end up getting some 3 or 4 clean sheets out of those opening six fixtures. It wouldn't be come as a surprise to any of us.
Yeah.
So I feel that's where the game is sort of also feeling split when it comes to the premium defenders. A lot of people, based on their uh, uh, ownership experience and from last year, they still have Gabriel. Clearly he's the highest owned premium defender here, but again, there's enough players who are going otherwise, maybe going for Van Dijk or Guardiola or Aït-Nouri or Kukurea, looking at that fixture run for Arsenal.
Right, right.
Hmm.
right.
On
That, yeah, go on.
Yeah, yeah. On an average, apart from the last season, for the last 4 season, he has on an average scored around 150 points. So that's something to say.
Right. And there's another interesting line of thought I have over here. So if anybody generally has to choose between, let's say, an Arsenal defender and, let's say, for instance, a Nottingham Forest defender, you can essentially save point 0.5 over there, right? I personally, considering this line of thought that I have, I would personally choose a Nottingham Forest defender over Gabriel, right? Because if you look at it, you're saving point 0.5 on the defense points, and you're also basically, Gabriel is not getting DEFCON points, right? And Milenkovic and Murillo, they are getting points for clearances like CBIT points, and also they're point 0.5 lesser, right? And both of them
Yeah.
have the same potential for clean sheets because Nottingham Forest had a lot of clean sheets and Arsenal had a lot of clean sheets. Plus, Milenkovic scored goals as well, and so did Gabriel. So essentially, I would any day choose Milenkovic over Gabriel then, right? So that might also be perhaps the reason why a lot of people are not going for Arsenal. One is their fixtures, and second is this fact they can save point 0.5.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Also, you would like to keep that slot open because after game week 6, Arsenal fixtures changes, and you'll get to know who their wing backs are actually who are playing above 60
Right.
minutes, and then you can choose them instead of 6 million.
Yeah. Then Ben White could again pop up as an opportunity, which
yep,
is we
Lewis
spoke
Kelly
about
is
in our
there.
earlier thought. Yeah.
Is Ben White still priced at 6 or 5.5?
5.5.
5.5.
5.5. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And then we have the City boys, right? Josco Guardiola and Ryan at Nouri. Last year, Guardiola had a phenomenal season. He scored 5 goals. He had 40 shots, which is second highest among defenders, and he had 34 shots in the box, which is first amongst defenders. He ended up scoring 153 points, making him the top scoring FPL defender. But with the arrival of 8 Nouri now, it's likely that he is going to be shifted to centre back, or as Varun was suggesting, maybe he's tried out in that defensive midfield position as well. So not sure that we can be as confirmed about his starts, or based on the setup that Pep is going to try out. Last year he was a solid starter. Like, he started all the games when he was fit. This time around, I'm not so sure. And on the other side, Ryan at Nori, like, he had 31 shots in the box, which is third amongst defenders. And he had three double-digit haul, which is the second highest amongst these 6 million defenders here. So
with Wolves.
uh, with Wolves though, and now he plays in a far better team in City, right? So I feel he's one of the picks who's currently I'm considering a lot in for my team. He can have a very high ceiling. That explosive potential is there, and playing for City, and Haaland with his headers on the receiving end of his crosses. I mean, it looks like it sounds pretty amazing to me to overlook him.
Yeah, and amongst the all we are seeing here, I think he has the best assist potential. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think good to consider now.
Right. So, yeah, this is where the real competition is, I think. You know, we will for sure, all the players will be banging their heads on whether they keep one 5.5 or they go with even two 5.5s, for because I feel there is definitely a case there to go with two. For sure, I think, as like, based on the discussions we've already had, by not even directly discussing Nottingham Forest players or defenders, we definitely think, I think, we'll have one or maybe even two players in our defense from Nottingham Forest. Milenkovic, Murillo, both are absolute gems in this regard. Like, Milenkovic has an amazing goal threat as well, and he's a center back, so he gives you that high CBIT uh, point ceiling as well. And Murillo was, the second best in terms of CBIT points accumulation based on his data from last year. So Murillo is also featuring in a lot of teams, and so is maybe Milenkovic is going a little bit under the radar, but I feel I would really be struggling to pick between another 6 million, or say one 5.5 million defender from here.
I would absolutely go with Milenkovic here. He had 5 goals and 2 assists last season compared to Mario's two. Mario scores high on DEFCON points, as you can see, 1.36 per 90, which I think is in the top three, if I'm not wrong, in the defenders, right?
Second
So
highest.
second highest, there you go. And also, you can't just look at his size, right? How do you get past him? He's just massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I mean, Milenkovic here, hands down for me. Like in terms of like Nottingham Forest defenders, I think he's a good pick for his value.
What I'm thinking is like rather than pivoting to a 6 million, having a best combination of because and Nottingham and Everton both have like the first three fixtures are a gift right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like if I have both Murillo and Tarkovsky, and I'm seeing this is in one of the very serious creators draft as well, that they're trying to put out a narrative around it. And when I'm seeing this DEFCON potential, we are saying, let's say, if there are uh, like if you just think high level from a points, if we extrapolate right now, we have three clean sheets loading for them, or let's say two clean sheet, that is 8 points. And let's say in each game they are getting DEFCON, which is they are screaming right now of that, which is again 6 points. So you have 14 points already there, which you expect a defender to get in like 6 games in a normal season. So which is a very high upside to what we are expecting from Virgil, who has a low DEFCON ceiling. Because what I'm saying here is they get 2 clean sheets by usual, and they get 1 clean sheet more because of their DEFCON potential that is there. So that is where I'm now like I'm in a dispute with myself that should I even go with a 6 million defender or like two 5.5s and two 4.5s and like just be sorted with and keep on rotating between them, because now these players who were never a season holds become a season hold for me because of this
Yeah,
added.
Tarkovsky is basically a season old, and one another interesting fact about CBIT is that you'll really reap its benefit if you keep that player.
Yeah.
It's those tough games when they really rack up those points, and for a team like for a team like Everton, those tough games they've actually ended up doing well, especially if they're playing at home. They're always low scoring. A lot of times these games are actually nil-nil draws, or say a 1-0 win to Everton. And in those cases, we always see that the defenders also get bonus, right? And if you see Tarkowski is racking some, say, 12 or 15 defensive contributions in that one game, he's anyway getting those 2 points. Add to that, he might actually end up with one or two bonus as well. So two bonus, two defensive contribution plus six. That makes a 10 point. Like it's a double
Yeah.
digit haul for Tarkowski immediately, right? And I can't even imagine how many such hauls he might end up having by the end of this season. It's a serious risk,
So a drop basically means a 10 pointer.
right? Yeah. I
A
mean, for
clean sheet draws
somebody
a 10
who's
pointer for them.
exactly, and if he's been so involved in the game, defending that goal like his life depends on it, which he always does, right? So it's it's a bonus magnet, a player like
But why do you think
Tarkowski.
with the change now, like I'm not seeing a similar ownership, although there is a complete bandwagon around these players and like everyone is putting out content and like stats around DEFCON and why these picks are essential. I do get that point of them being essential, but their ownership does not scream that for me right now. And like I was expecting them to be much higher than 10, but there is only Poro that I've still not even thought once throughout
Yeah,
this since the game has launched,
yeah,
which is like, and because if you let's say I'm putting in Morello and Tarkovsky, I already have two differentials, which is a high level what I think when I'm putting in 11 player that I should at least have two differential versus the other 9 picks in my against the template. So which will just sort you here only.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I said, like, picks are going unnoticed. This is where you get the points.
Yeah, I think also the question that you raised, Varun, about the ownership of Tarkovsky being unexpectedly a little low as you would have thought, it might be also because of the reason that a lot of people have picked Pickford also. So nobody would want to like kind of double up
Mhm.
on Everton defense. And also there's another interesting thing to look at. You can kind of also save point 0.5 over here and go with Mikolenko. And the reason why I say that is Mikolenko has a DEFCON of 1, which is more than all the other three over here as well. It's more than Poro, Munoz, and Milenko, which even.
Right.
So he's also a DEFCON monster. It's not like he's not a DEFCON monster as well. Plus, you save point 0.5. And he had 1 goal and 3 assists last season as compared to Tarkovsky's 1 goal, 1 assist. So Mikolenko is definitely another option to look at in Everton if you don't have Tarkovsky and Pickford, if you don't want to go for them and want to save a bit of money.
Yeah,
Right.
fair, fair.
Yep.
And then obviously, guys, Munoz, like I think all of us had him in our teams at
Yep.
some point last season. He
Yes.
was a phenomenal player. Like he played like a winger basically. He was the
Yeah.
fourth highest scoring defender like with 142 points. And from December onwards, he was actually the highest scoring defender in FPL. So,
Mhm.
there's a very high attacking threat when it comes to Munoz. He's taking regular shots, he's crossing, he's getting into the box, and they have what I'll say is like Palace do not have a great first three fixtures, and probably we're not gonna keep high price players from Palace for at least the initial 3 game weeks. But post from starting the fourth game week, Palace players become serious consideration. And say if if Munoz hits the ground running in the first three itself, I'm seeing like a huge bandwagon for Munoz in the fourth game week.
Yeah, I mean, he already scored in the preseason game, so he's already he looks in good form. So if he continues and begins the season like that, he'll be a good pick.
You know,
Yeah,
one thing he attracts the most,
yellow
yellow
Tackles,
cards.
cards.
yellow cards as well. He does a lot of tackles. That's the reason. I think he has done what
So he's that
he's the
CBIT.
highest.
He's that CBIT you should avoid because tackle is like, as we discussed in the last pod,
Yeah,
takes you in the yellow card threat as well. So
Yep.
your net CBIT gain is one.
Yeah.
right.
But you're not really looking for CBIT when it comes to Munoz. You're looking for
Munoz.
those assists and
Yeah.
goals.
Attacking returns, yes.
So that's like assist is 3-pointer, goal is another, sorry, assist is 3-pointer, and goal is six, right? So that's huge. You want those goals from Munoz. So it's a different perspective if you're going for Munoz.
Yep.
Let's look at the last bit, like wherein we talk about the budget defenders. This is where the scene is absolutely crowded
Yep.
at this moment. As Vimarsh was talking about Mikolenko. He is an amazing shout. Like,
Yeah.
I had overlooked the fact that he's 1 point as per CBIT, like, which is basically guaranteeing almost as much as, say, any decent CBIT defender. So he might not end up getting as many contributions as Tarkovsky, but he will be in the thereabouts. So yeah, Mikolenko definitely is an amazing pick from Everton for the same reasons. And then it could be Van de Ven or it could be Udogi. Both are fair shouts from Tottenham. I'm still torn on whether I should go with them starting the season itself. I think I need to look at Tottenham preseason games a little more closely now and follow them properly, how they're doing defensively. The recent game with Arsenal, they actually won because of the sole goal from Pepe Matasar, uh, which was a long range goal. But yeah, they didn't also concede uh, against Arsenal, so that's encouraging.
With Gyökeres on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously this poster boy of 4.5 million budget defenders, Aaron Van Bissaka. I feel like he's already, just look at his ownership. It's
Ownership.
one of the high. Yeah, it's like it speaks for itself. He's definitely one of the he's already, in my opinion, he's sort of becoming almost like a must-have 4.5 million budget defender, right? Like, he scored some two goals, gave six assists, which is the most of any currently 4.5 million rated defenders. He also actually has amazing CBIT stats. I mean, if you compare to other picks, like, he is decent. So he's getting you those assists, and he's also racking up those points. Like, he might not do as well as Mikolenko, but he will get at least in half of those games. So
Yeah.
I feel like he's a serious consideration.
Yeah.
He's taking in Potter's system as well, going forward like crazy all the time.
Yeah, in the CBIT, what contributes CBIT? Clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackles. So he had the highest interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's one. Yeah. So it's a he's a monster there. So 61
yeah, he
odd.
had yeah,
Yeah.
and he had 70 tackles. Like,
Yeah.
he would have earned some 12 defensive contribution points, I
Yeah.
think, which is excellent, right? At this price point, as
Four and a
of
half.
4.4.5 million. Yeah. So I feel he's an all-round pick and almost like becoming a no-brainer at this point.
Yep.
And then you have like Crystal Palace players like Richards. I forgot to mention Lecroix here, but yeah, he's being talked about a lot in the FPL circles now. He also takes he is on those end of set pieces. Like, he took a lot of headed shots last season. His XG was pretty good at 2.46. So there is a fair goal potential when it comes to Lecra. And he is also right up top in terms of CBIT. So he could have actually collected some 34 additional CBIT points. So I feel he's a very, very huge shout for a for a 5 million defender from Crystal Palace, especially starting the game week 4.
Mm.
Yep.
And then finally, I think it's uh, sort of a set and forget kind of a pick in Esri Konsa. He's a boring pick, but he'll get you those points. His main points came from clean sheets last season as well. And I feel like Aston Villa are on the up. They've always been monsters at home. Uh, I feel they'll probably end up getting a lot more clean sheets this season. And he rotates pretty well with, one of the 4 million picks in Esteve from Burnley, which I feel is probably one of the two 4 million picks in that bracket. Like it's either Esteve or I think it's Rodon of Leeds. I think these are, and there's also Goodmanson from Leeds. So I think there are 2-3 picks in that bracket, but Esteve is getting highlighted because of the second game week 2 fixture he has, which is an easy one. I think against, is it, if I'm not wrong, it's against Sunderland. So, and Konsa has a tough second game week fixture, so they can rotate.
Yeah, even Spurs, like
Right.
I have three picks like from this particular view right now in my team. So,
Yeah, me
but
too.
Yeah,
in
let's go to the some, like the final list then, guys. Let's
yeah, just before
pick
we
our
go,
three
just
picks.
another rotational theme is like I am considering Spurs and Aston rotation. They rotate really well till up to game week 12. So that's one rotation you can think of. When Spurs is tough, Aston fairly has an easy fixture, but yeah, that could be sorting out some of our benching dilemmas. And with 4.5, you can only maximize by rotating them nicely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, let's move ahead. So this is basically we have put it out on Twitter as well. There's a detailed analysis on it, but I'll quickly give you a brief about what this talks about. First of all, over here we have considered only 4.5 and 5 million defenders because we wanted to see among the cheap enablers which performs better at clean sheet, DEFCON, any attacking returns, and goal conceded. So we want to compare among all of these pillars and see which are the best picks. The top six that I've considered is as per XG and not the formal top six, given we wanted to understand the clean sheet odds as well for them and how they perform with high XG performing teams. So the top six teams are Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, City, Newcastle, and Brighton. Now coming to the visual part. First I want to establish that generally we do not like to spend a lot of transfers in the defense move, especially for the cheap enablers. So we need to be prudent on which budget enablers we choose. Over here we have returns, which includes the defensive as well as defensive as in clean sheet, as well as the attacking returns. We have DC, that's DEFCON. We have goal considered and points per start to compare with. Now, there are multiple scenarios where you can use it. One is bench boost strategy, which with cheap enablers, where they have the higher potential for the returns and DEFCON. The another one is when you play your budget enabler because your main team defense plays against the tough team. So let's say if Virgil or your 6 million defender, 5.5 million defenders are playing against top six teams, and your budget enabler is playing with mid teams. That is I'll talk more about that as well, how you can use it. The third is you can go cheaper on the defense and upgrade your mids and forwards. You need to look first table as well for that because it talks about against top six team, you will have to play those players. Now, coming to the first scenario, bench boost. If your budget enablers are facing tough teams, then you can look for attacking returns or DC points because clean sheet odd is would be very less against the top teams if those are playing in your bench boost during your bench boost week. So go for Mikelenko, Richards, Neko, Van Bissaka, as they have better returns in terms of clean sheet or plus the attacking returns as well. And they concede less goals as well. So the chance of reducing, getting -2, uh, is it -1 or -2? -2, right? -1 for each two goals scored, right? -1 for each two goals scored. So this is regarding the bench boost. Now coming to the second scenario, when you play your budget enablers because your main team defense plays against tough team, mostly this will be your fourth or fifth defender, and you will play them when your main team defenders are facing tough fixtures. If that is the case, then look at the second table because that is what is going to help you over there. And over here, look for the clean sheet plus the bonus over CBIT because they carry more weightage in terms of points. So quickly coming to that, Chaloba, Guei, Ena, Konsa are something that I really like. You can go for Robinson as well, and Lacroix, but he's 5 million and Guei is 4.5. So if you want that point for extra somewhere, you can use it. Uh, anything that you want to point it out, guys, apart from this?
I think just for our viewers to understand what DC here is, um, and we had in our previous slides as well, what we are looking at, if let's say Mikalenko DC is one, that means in two game he has a chance of getting one defensive contribution point, that is, which is translated into two. But we are looking defensive contribution in terms of points and not like number of times you will get, because this gives us a clear clarity in terms of their overall potential rather than just looking at the number of time they will be striking that. So that is just top of thing and interesting. Like I was never seeing Chaloba being spoken about in any place, but good insight that he is
Yeah,
coming up there. But Lacroix is there in terms of in both the
Yeah.
there.
even
So
Aina is
yeah,
there.
I've
He's
overlooked
ranked
this
well.
these guys a lot so far,
So
but yeah,
so
this is a good win.
yeah, so Suraj, how have you ranked these? I see a pulse rank column. So what are they ranked on?
So it's a combination of your returns, which includes your clean sheet as well as attacking returns, the goal conceded, the lesser you concede. So everything that is marked in green,
Okay,
that's how
green.
the ranking has been done. So green is good, red is bad.
So it's a good view to look at while picking up while choosing defenders, because you can get an understanding of what defenders are balanced in terms of their performances against the top six and non-top six also, right? Because
Yeah.
just looking at some of these examples, if you look at Aina, he's ranked four against non-top six and three against top six. So he seems like a good pick and stuff like that. You can make your own interpretations. And since this has been shared on Twitter as well as you mentioned, so it'll be good for the users or consumers in general.
Okay. Let's go to next one. Aman, over to you.
Then yeah, so I think we've sort of covered the whole defenders bit. Let's do one quick activity and let's pick up our top three picks from each of the three brackets, being like premium defenders. Then we've got the midfield or the mid-priced defenders. Sorry, the mid-priced defenders. I've included the 5 million and the 5.5 million both here, and the budget defenders have basically marked them as 4.5 and 4. So that's
So
how I've differentiated.
so we pick one
I
from each.
No, let's give our top three from in the order of preference. Varun, yeah, Varun, you can start.
Okay, my like I am not. I was in the first pick in my template was initially Guardiola because I thought he will be certain given his minutes last season, but now it's Virgil will be rank one. I am not rating any Arsenal defender. I know this could be controversial because I'm just a very fixture heavy guy, so I'm just not being there yet. I think it'll be Virgil, and it's a Virgil and Kukurea tie for me because Kukurea in general has a high upside, like on the XGI side, and then 8 Nuri. Yeah, so this would be mine, and I think I'll for 5.5s, I would
Let
be
us all first just give
look
our
at the premiums.
6
Yeah.
million picks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I
So
would take the risk with 8 Nouri. Gabriel, if he's fit, I'll surely go for Gabriel or Saliba. Uh, third will be Virgil.
so are you saying we're gonna see 8 Nuri in your final team?
It is in my team. as of now. Let's see.
Will he stay in the team? Okay, good, good.
I
No, I like that. I like that.
We are not
Uh,
gonna see
I
any preseason game. I think there's only one preseason game for City, and I have
I
to
think
make my
two,
decision based on
probably two.
that.
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
two.
they are very
But they
limited
had
for
they
before.
had the entire Club World Cup as preseason.
Yeah, and 8 Nouri started, so that's the reason I'm confident he'll start. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if
No,
he'll
no, he's
start all the
starting.
games.
There is no competition there. I mean, he will not. Why will you buy a proper left back or left wing back if you're not starting him? And he's the best left wing back out there right now in our league. It's like Kirkes or Ait Nouri right now.
Yep.
Right. So for me, I sort of am on the similar page. For me, it's eight Nuri one. Then I have Kukurea followed by Virgil.
I'll go with Virgil, Ait Nouri, and Kukurea. Same. Hopefully, considering Ait Nouri has minutes locked in, and there's no like any sort of rotation risk or him not starting, I think that's fixed.
I don't think I will be putting like taking out Virgil. Like it's not a bias, but I think it's given that his ownership also is screaming that. Plus, I think fixture play or his potential overall is screaming me not to go against him
Yeah,
right now
I think.
because
Yeah,
it would have been Arsenal defense if the fixtures were fine. But I will be pivoting from him. He's not a season hold for me right now, but he's a placeholder for Arsenal in game week 7. That is also a thought I already have.
I think also there's a lot of uncertainty with a lot of teams with respect to who all are going to start, and Liverpool
Yeah,
is one of them with like the new signings. Because I'm really excited. I saw one game with Frimpong. I'm really excited to see him as well. But if he was surely starting, I would surely have him in my team instead of Virgil.
right.
But I mean, Virgil is safe, so let's see.
Okay, so now on mid price, I like 1 5 million pick that I only like is Lacroix from this list. Given the fact that I like Lacroix over Munoz. I think there is a risk of yellow card over there, which I'm not able to take away right now. But otherwise, I rate Murillo, Milenkovic, Tarkovsky as well. But yeah, like if I have to talk about my list, it will be Murillo, Milenkovic, and Lacroix for like 1, 2, and 3. Tarkovsky and Poro is same for me, but I just don't like Everton picks or like for a longer time, whereas other teams I can hold for long given their playing style and consistency.
Right, right. So for me, it will be Munoz, Saloba, and one of the Nottingham Forest defender, Murilo or Milenkovic.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, for me, how I'm seeing this is like I think there is a very high chance a lot of people are going to end up with at least one 5.5 and at least one 5 million pick in their team. So if I have to think from that perspective, the first 5.5 million pick I'm going to go with is Milenkovic. Uh, Post that, I'll probably go with Mikolenko or Lecroix. I'm feeling like based on the fixtures, I'll probably go Mikolenko as my second. And third would be Tarkovsky or ye- yeah, or Murillo. Like if I'm going with two 5.5 picks, then it will be, Murillo and Milenkovic both in my team and Mikolenko. So yeah, it's Milenkovic, Mikolenko, Murillo.
The three picks for me would be Milenkovic, Munoz, and Mikolenko.
I'm
Right.
surprised no one picked Chelsea defender. It's only me who have picked
I
him.
Because
think
you already picked
because
Kukurea, no?
yeah, Kukurea is there, and we are not talking about Reece James, but if he's fit for,
Ah,
let's say,
Five
God's
games.
grace is on him, his legs, his thighs, and his
Yeah.
body, his shoulders, then he will be in the discussion, and there will be like a entire narrative around him. If he's not there, we'll be like ridiculed by the community.
Yeah, but I think
Anyway,
like all of us have been burnt by Reece
yeah,
James
yeah.
in the last few
No, no.
seasons, so nobody's even taking the risk that
He's
to
if
take his
he
name.
I hope for him there is a separate thread of leaks that Reece James is starting or not. Anyway, for 4.5, my three picks who are currently in my draft as well: Van de Ven first, Konsa second, and Aaron Van Bissaka third. So this will be my order, and I don't think anyone would go out of this. Van Bissaka might be Richards, but so far I have not thought of changing it. I've and Van de Ven could be a doggy or either vice versa, but it's still Van de Ven for now.
Yeah, for me, I don't like to change, like transfer out 4.5 defender slot. I would just keep it because it would be my mostly on my bench. So for me, it would be season long hold, mostly not season long hold, at least until I play wildcard. It would be Van Bissaka, Guehi, and Konsa.
Right. I think like from how I'm imagining for my team, I would probably have one 6 million defender. I will have one 5.5 million defenders, and the remaining three are probably going to be two 4.5s and one 4 million defender to allow me that extra budget to put in the midfield. In that sense, if I have to say whom are gonna whom am I gonna pick from these budget defenders, it's likely going to be Van Bissaka, Konsa, and Esteve at 4 million. So Bisaka for his attacking threat, Konsa for his clean sheet potential, and Esteve just to save money and come in when one of these two don't have a good fixture. I mean, I can see if Van Bissaka could be Van de Ven if he rotates better with the other two, but I'm gonna think about the best rotation structure possible for three defenders amongst these budget ones.
Right. So, my three picks from budget defenders, irrespective of my team structure in general, would be Van Bissaka, Konsa, and Van de Ven.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Yeah.
is this like point 0.5 that you when you are saving there is just to upgrade your goalkeeper, or is that you are also saving over there?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm definitely thinking of a 5 million goalkeeper this time because
Yeah.
again, I don't want to spend on goalkeeper transfer or use a
Yes.
transfer for a goalkeeper. And there are enough chances to actually change your goalkeeper in this FPL season. We have two wildcards and then we have five transfers during AFCON. So if all our teams are set, maybe we end up using one of the those five transfers on the goalkeeper.
Yep.
Right.
So for now, I think I want to use that point 0.5 for a solid goalkeeper, which I think we're going to discuss a little bit later. But yeah, uh, that I'm just trying to find that extra 5.5 million for upgrading a midfielder, my fifth midfielder, or my goalkeeper.
Makes sense.
Agreed.
All right, so then let's move on to the last segment of this podcast, which is goalkeeper picks. Goalkeeper picks have always been very confusing for me. I've never understood if I should put a lot of money into goalkeepers and just go on from there, or if I should pick the cheapest goalkeeper, set and forget it, and don't worry about it. So I've always had like very contradicting opinions about goalkeepers. Last season, I had Flecken for the entire season. He was the highest he had the highest save points in the entire season, which was one good thing that happened last season. But I mean, there were better performers than him. So, what thoughts do you guys have in general on goalkeepers? Starting with you, Varun, like just a line or two about what do you think when you choose goalkeepers?
I mean, who's the best enabler who's just fixed in a particular team and is 4.5? But there are sadly not any standout picks right now.
Right.
I am currently on a 5 million pick sales over there, but it's like a double up for me right now. But there are like I can present a case for him is like he was the Golden Glove winner last season. I expect Nuno to be still a defensive side. they haven't changed much. Like a team not changing much screams that they will not be changing a lot in their playing style. So, given the information I am certain of, I'm going with him. With Liverpool, obviously, like you can pick Allison, but this point five will hurt you later on. So I will not talk about any of these 5.5 picks in general. I know there are a lot of people on Pickford right now just because of he was last year's Golden Glove winner also, I think. But I think he had most points in terms of a goalkeeper. But again, it's like this point five can be spent on a midfielder who will be giving you 20 more points than this goalkeeper for sure. So it is surely going to help you down the line. In terms of what narratives right now is going on, it is around Sanchez, Sells, Kelleher, but
Petrovic.
like
Yeah,
Petrovic is there.
I
But
will talk about all those. Yep.
I mean, I think the least we think about them, that the more better it is for our team. Like, have a bias here. Like, I'm telling you, have a bias pick here. Just who is a minute starter. Trust him. And I'm telling you, by the law of averages, even if we all four pick a different keeper, by the end of 10th game week, we won't be lot different from each other, unless until it's like a standout performance, because that's a trend I have seen that the variance in terms of goalkeeper is not very huge. In terms of the popular picks, obviously I'm talking about, but it is not that huge that it'll create a massive rank difference at the initial. There's no team like who's getting penalties and a keeper saving penalties. There's no standout theme like there, so it's nothing that where these goalkeepers can stand out, and they don't have a DEFCON chance at all.
Right,
Quickly
let's
discuss
stick to.
about like the keepers that you see on the screen. No, like, if you go back, yeah, if you
Okay.
see the keepers here on the screen, so these all of them, let's consider them as like premium picks in general. So if you look at considering this season, you're gonna get 3 points for inside the box saves and 2 points for outside the box saves now. Right. Earlier it was two in general. Right. So if you look at the stats here for all these keepers, you'll see saves per 90. You'll see saves I, which is saves inside the box per 90. You'll see saves O, which is saves outside the box per 90. GC is goals conceded per 90. BCS is big chances saved percentage per 90. And SOTAS is shots on target saved per 90. Right. So if you just look at these stats for these keepers, you'll notice that Cells, which is in general already a good pick, his saves inside the box are the highest, right? They're 2.42. So he's gonna get even more points generally this season in terms of he's gonna be more probable for getting all these
That
bonus
is from
points.
the BPS standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Bonus, yeah, yeah.
Bonus, yes, that's from the BPS
That's
standpoint, correct?
exciting.
Right. So that's so in general from that perspective, he's a good pick. Another interesting thing to look at is Allison. Although he's part of Liverpool, which was good both attacking and defense wise, his shots on target saved percentage is the highest among all these goalkeepers. So even though he doesn't have to do much, but the shots on targets he gets, he does his job well, which explains why he's a top rated goalkeeper in world football, right? And if you look at all the other keepers, the things that come to mind, if you look at Sanchez was an absolute monster in the Club World Cup. He just got possessed in the
Yeah.
final as well. I don't know what happened to him there, but he's absolutely known to be prone to make errors. And another interesting fact about Sanchez is he uses his hands to throw the ball or distribute the ball the most. So I think he was the highest distributor last season in terms of throws with his hand.
Does
These are
that
just
get you more bonus
no,
points?
it doesn't. It
No,
doesn't.
no.
It's just a
That
way of
is a
playing.
trade-off because he's not directing the ball correctly when he's kicking
Correct, correct.
Okay, one thing. When
it.
if anything is to go by the Club World Cup final, he was
Oh
like a
my
man
God.
possessed.
That's what I
He
said.
was, I think he almost assisted a couple of goals. If I
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, his passes, his throws, and his kicks were so accurate. They were
yes.
landing right to the forward player. Like it was direct to
He
Palmer, direct to
he
Neto,
ate
direct to
That's
Gusto. He was so good.
he
that's
ate
a man
Petechek's
scared of losing his
breakfast
job.
that morning.
That's a
I,
man
that,
scared of losing. That's a
I
man
just
scared of
want to
losing
see
his job.
that goalkeeper all season.
When it comes to your job, you perform that way.
Oh yeah, oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, in terms of these traits that I said, even Pickford is absolutely good for Everton, because he had the one of the best numbers in terms of long balls, and that suits their style of play as well. So yeah, I mean, in terms of all this, there's another keeper worth mentioning here. Again, he's a premium keeper of Manchester City, Edison. He had in 22 games towards in the last season, he had like, I think, 7 clean sheets. So he had a good clean sheet percentage there as well, and he had 4 assists. What do you do about that? That's just insane. It's more
Wow.
than some defenders, right?
Right.
So and all those four were like, he just tried assisting this 4 times, and all those four were assists. So he was just
The
absolutely phenomenal.
only case for 5.5 is you can go with Pickford,
Pickford.
uh, but then you should be making sure your rest of the defensive are like 4.5. Like save
Yeah.
your money from defense some or the other way. Like make sure the entire total sum is somewhere same. But the only case is like if you have good 4.5, which you are sure of minutes as well as some high upside.
Also, Pickford didn't let any penalties go past him as well. He saved 2 penalties last season. So
Wow.
Pickford is a,
Standout, yeah.
yeah, Pickford is a standout. Yeah, he's a standout keeper over here. I mean, he's.
But will you spend 5.5 on Everton defense? Like I know it's a good defense, but
I
still,
mean,
will you spend?
I could possibly just go with Pickford and keep a 4.5 million rotation keeper, or not even a rotation keeper, just Pickford, and then I won't go with the Everton defense at all and put my money in some other places. That's also,
9 million, anything more than 9 million on goalkeeper is usually not a
yeah, it's not actually.
stable thing for your
Yeah.
team structure.
Yeah, but you never know. Maybe we spice it up this season. Let's see. After all, we are
Yeah.
chasing a one
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like,
Top one
there are
percentile.
top one.
there are some they've actually made it difficult when it comes to keepers. Like, these picks would have been amazing if, Pickford, for example, was 5 million. Like, it would have been a no-brainer.
Yep,
Yes.
I'm
yep,
pretty sure.
absolutely.
Like,
Yes.
so 5.5 as a serious consideration. So kudos to FPL on
Yeah, I
that they
mean,
made it difficult.
If
But I do feel there is a case for keeper rotation as well. Let's go to
exactly.
4.5 millions
Yeah,
and talk about
yeah.
that.
Let's go there. Yeah. So I mean, I've kept a couple of 5 million keepers here as well, which I didn't talk about earlier. The reason why I've kept them here is they can kind of be differential picks per se if you want to get into goalkeepers in general. And the reason why I say that is, if I just talk about Henderson, in terms of just pure stats, in terms of expected goals on target versus goals conceded, his expected goals on target were 46, right? And he conceded 42. So how you interpret that is, if you've conceded less than expected goals on target, you've kind of performed better than what was expected of you. So he kind of conceded 4 less goals than what was expected of him last season. And if you also look at all these goalkeeper stats as well, he's right up there in the top 4 or 5 in all of the stats. He's done really well last season. I think he had like, if I'm not wrong, around 10 clean sheets last season. So Dean Henderson is a good differential pick in terms of keepers, and so is Leno. Leno didn't have as many clean sheets, but he was up there in terms of like saves and other bonus points. So just to consider those. Now, if you go to the 4.5 million picks, the three I've kept over here is Verbruggen, Kelleher, Petrovic. If I just talk about stats to start with over here, if you look at Verbruggen, the stat I explained about Henderson, XGOT versus goals conceded, right? So Henderson was the best performer in those terms, and Verbruggen was the worst. So if you have Verbruggen in your team, that's something to consider. So last season he had somewhere around 46 expected goals on target, and he conceded 50. So 4 more than what was expected, right? So he didn't perform that well. All these stats don't necessarily mean that these are not good keepers. Just it's similar to something like Wood overperforming his XG, right? So it does not mean he's like a bad forward. It's just that he performed better. Similarly, it's not like Verbruggen is a bad keeper. It's just that he didn't perform as much as was expected of him last season in terms of those stats. So that's one thing. Another interesting thing to look at is Kelleher. Now, Flecken has been sold. He's gone to the Bundesliga now. So since he was just a monster in terms of saves last season, I think he had upwards of 100 saves last season, and he had a lot of highest save points last season. So that also translates to the fact that Brentford conceded a lot of shots outside the D area in
Yeah.
general. outside the box, right? So that might help Kelleher as well. So I was looking at his stats as well. He had 10 appearances last season, and he was, I won't say he was bad or anything in terms of his stats, but he was slightly above average. So he's okay. He's not a bad pick at all, considering he's 4.5 as well, and he's gonna for sure, almost for sure, start for Brentford now. So Kelleher, that's why you'll see his ownership is so high. If you look at his ownership on FPL, it's really really high, right?
Yeah.
And then if you look at Petrovic now Petrovic was loaned out by Chelsea to Strasbourg last season. If you look at his saves per 90, it's 3.58 is what he did in League One. So which is just absolutely insane, right? And he might also turn out to be a good pick
Yeah.
for in terms of like Bournemouth. Although now that Bournemouth defense is depleted, he might not be the best pick, 4.5 pick to pick. But I think out of all these 4.5 ones, Kelleher, for obvious reasons, is the reason why he has the highest ownership as well. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of thoughts. I think these picks work very well if you manage to pick two of them correctly.
Yeah,
Clearly, there is a combination or a rotation out there for Kelleher and Petrovic. Like if I have to look at their fixtures for even up till say game week 8, they if you are able to basically by rotating them for the 8 initial game weeks, you will avoid playing any team from last season's top 6. You'll only play 2 games out of those 8 where the team was ranked 7th to 10th, and 6 out of those games would be against, obviously, for the bottom half of the table teams and the promoted teams. So that's an amazing combination. And the second combination, another keeper which I think is not present here is Ariola from West Ham, right? Ariola and
Hmm.
Petrovic also rotate pretty well. It's even better, and you can keep if you're looking for like a longer wild card or a later wild card in the first half of the season. Then maybe you should go with Petrovic and Ariola as the combination, wherein you end up playing just one game against the last season's top 6 for the 13 games. Till game week 13, and you play no like you play 0 games against last season's 7 to 10th place teams. So it's an amazing combination. Like I feel it begs looking at. You could either go with like a 5 million keeper and a 4 million dud, or you could go with two 4.5 rotational keepers.
absolutely. That absolutely
The
makes
only thing I'm tracking right now is the situation at Aston Villa.
Yep.
If Martinez is leaving and there will be any defender that's coming in, it should be 4.5, and I will go with him because it's kind of takes me away from Konsa, and I can have my other favorite 4.5s or 5 million over there. The other thing on Kelleher, and this is some of the pointers that I was reading on X and the other FPL forums, is so now their manager or the first team coach was their set piece and defense coach. So even though Brentford has lost Thomas Frank, they've replaced him with a guy who has a mindset of, like, he would be a good pick for when you're looking at a defensive setup again. So from that side, Kelleher could be at an advantage, and like even from set pieces, he could be doing good. He was a set piece coach for Brentford. He would be good at the defensive aspect of that as well. So that is one pointer. But again, any of these pick, word of caution is, like, when these teams go on a run of bad form, these keeper tend to rotate, and then you will be in a position where it is difficult to then make a transfer. For Henderson and Leno, Henderson, obviously you are going with their one defensive pick already, so you will not be buying a double up there. Leno, Fulham does not scream right now uh, charming team from an FPL lens, but Leno is a good pick. I rate him as a good goalkeeper, but the price point is a point 0.5 too high for me to think of it. But yes, the rotation point, as Aman suggested, is good if someone is looking at a 4.5 rotation till first half of the season. Yes.
Yep. So let's just conclude this section with our goalkeeper picks, starting with
Yeah.
you, Arun.
One point before we go there. So my strategy is go low on goalkeeper, get some 4.5 million goalkeeper. Now, given that we have wildcard to play in between as well, and we have multiple transfers coming up, uh, I'll consider as the season progress, you will get another 4.5 million goalkeeper who's doing better, like we had last year. Like I think Henderson was 4.5 last year, and
Yeah.
they kept 11 clean sheets overall. So I would try that strategy.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, okay. So for me, goalkeeper picks currently, I'm well set on sells. 4 million could be anyone. I have kept Dubravka or I don't know, someone is there. Um, oh, I'm not very convinced. Like I could have bought Sanchez, but the only reason I'm not going there is because of Cucurella. I want to somehow fit him in my team, and then that will not make Sanchez lucrative. And I know why Cucurella is Cucurella 6 million right now, and I don't mind that 1 million. He would be what could Trent delivered or any high attacking potential delivered. Chelsea is getting better, so why don't spend that extra 1 million to their defense on the attacking side? 4.5, I love Kelleher because he's an ex-Liverpool, so that's my second pick.
Yeah, for me, among 5 million, I think it will be Sanchez. Uh, and then, as I said, we have a lot of transfers, so I can remove Sanchez and bring in Cucurella if needed. And the rest of two of them will be 4.5 because I like to go light. One is Kelleher, and I'm also uh, considering Aston Villa goalkeeper if Martinez leave. I think the guy Bizot, he's starting the preseason and he might keep that position if they don't sign a new
Yeah,
one.
For me, it's Sanchez from the 5 million keepers, and I'll probably go for a combination of Petrovic and Kelleher if I had to pick 4.5s.
So the two picks for me that are currently in my draft as well are Kelleher and Kinski from Spurs. So I'm still open to making changes to my backline with respect to the goalkeeper, but let's see what
5 million picks.
happens. 5 million pick personally would be Sanchez only for me, I think. But that's the thing. He clashes
He's
with
2-1.
Cucurella. Yeah. So let's see.
All right, so this brings us to the end of this particular podcast, which was more of our defender goalkeeper watch list. But guys, we want to just take a moment now to help us support in our journey. I know this is our third pod right now, and we want the subscriber pool to grow. We want to reach to more audience because we are putting in a lot of efforts to get this content out and not to be clouded by any narrative or anything. These are just our honest opinions. You would have seen us debating and arguing each other point of views because that's where we like want to keep the essence of our pod and like entire content that we are putting across. So please hit the bell icon, subscribe, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are putting a lot of content every week. I'm sure these data points are going to help you throughout the season. We'll be putting our drafts as well, along with the midfield and the striker watches as well, similar to this spot. So stay tuned, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Yeah. Yeah, before we go, all the data point that you've seen over here is from FFScout. And if you want to help us or contribute in any way, you can click on the link in the description for special offers before the start of the season. Okay,
Thanks,
thanks,
everyone.
thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
See you in
Bye.
the next one.